This is my Monstera deliciosa, and this is my Monstera Thai constellation. If you've ever been interested in buying one of these plants, or maybe you do have one, but now are trying to figure out how to take care of it, this video is for you. So hello again and welcome back to the channel. As I said in the beginning, this video is going to be for anyone that has a Monstera, either it be a Delicioso, or a Thai constellation, or almost any of the other varieties are out there, Albo, Mint, whatever. If you have one and you are thinking maybe there's something you can do to have either better fenestrations, bigger plant, climbing, or whatever, or if you're thinking of getting one and don't know what necessarily you're getting yourself into, this video is for you. Like I said before, my grand total amount of time of owning Monsteras is 3 years, so keep that in mind. I'll be providing some general tips for you, and what I have gleaned from all the research I've done online and trial and error with my plants and what has worked for me, and from what I've seen from my readings and online in general, what has worked. So let's get into it. Okay, the first and most important thing to talk about is going to be the light. Now, you could have the Monstera in a window, but you'll be surprised at how much little light actually comes through that window. Monsteras need an incredible amount of indirect light in order for them to really flourish and grow. So in my house, this is a north-facing window, so that's not going to be anywhere near enough light. In ideal situations, an east-facing window would be ideal, but even then, you're not getting the amount of light that you need. They need 12 to 16 hours of continuous light to really flourish. The other thing that's very important is the intensity of the light. If you happen to have a light meter and borrow one from someplace like a public library, some public libraries will loan them out. These are very useful to check the amount of light and light intensity you're getting through your windows and from your lights. The measurement that you should be looking for is foot candles. The minimum to keep basically a Monstera alive is around 200. For big growth, big leaves and everything like that, you want a foot candle reading of 400 or more. With the lights that I'm using, the pendant lights that are hanging, that's this example here. About a foot down from them, they are getting like 800 foot candles worth of light. Anything closer, it goes into 1,000. And a good rate for Monsteras is 400 foot candles to 1,000. And these can really put out more than that. So they are really benefiting from that. And these lights I have on a 16-hour timer. So they're getting that amount of light for 16 hours a day. Now keep in mind, although they might be getting the intensity they need from the light to about here, as it gets lower down, there's less and less lights. That's why I kind of have them in a staggered position, and I have lower lights over there, so that any smaller plants that I have over there will get the light intensity that they need. but indirect light like this is what they really thrive on. These bulbs that I'm using are 35 watt LED bulbs. All my light bulbs are LED because they're just more efficient and less expensive on electricity. And the color temperature of the light is 3000 for these. The 3000, they call it 3000 Kelvin. Kelvin is a measurement of the temperature for the lights. 3000 is kind of like that yellowish tinge that you see from the lights. I'm not a fan of them, but a lot of people like them. I wanted actually to have a 5000 or 6500 Kelvin lights, which give off a more daylight color like these ones under here. These little pendant lights on here are 5000K. They give them more of like a natural daylight look. A lot of people have said though they don't like that kind of look in their house because it makes it seem more like, I don't know, a laboratory or an office space, which they don't like. But either way, they do fine. So these ones are 3000K light temperature. The little pendant lights I have underneath that I just showed you, like this, they're magnetic base. They're kind of nice to have. These are 5000, and these long strips are 6500. And you can see that white look to them. These are strips that I have on my grow stand that I use for my seed starts in the workshop. 6500K is ideal for seed starts because they really benefit from that temperature light. But for the Monstera, the 3000 K lights is all you need. These bulbs and the fixture is around $30 to $40, so not that expensive. You don't need the big long multicolored lighting grow lights that you might see out there, the big rectangular things that can be like hundreds of dollars. You really don't need that. If your budget affords you to have it, then great, but you really don't need that for what's going on here. You can get your hand on one of these and measure the light coming in. You'll see the difference. When I measured the light coming in through the window, like on a normal day, a normal sunny day, I was only getting like maybe 100 foot candles through these windows. Once again, this is facing north, so a south-facing window might have better numbers, but still not the amount that the Monstera needs. And you can tell the difference with my plants anyways, when I didn't have the lights and when I did. This was one giant bush that I separated, I mentioned before in a video. So I had put them on a stake, and if you take a look at the vine itself, notice how thin it is, and these spaces in between the nodes, these are called internode spaces, look how much they stretched out. Because I had these just sitting in the window for a while before I added the lights. And once I started adding the lights, notice how the internode spaces are much shorter because the plant isn't stretching for light anymore, and it's much thicker. I'm actually in the process of chopping this and doing propagations. That's what these cuttings are in water right now. But that gives you an idea of the difference that having a good light source for the plant makes. Very, very important for Monsteras. 12 to 16 hours of light. Get a dedicated grow light if you can for it, and put them on a timer or a smart plug that you can set a timer for it. Okay, I've moved into the workshop because this part's a bit messy. We are now going to talk about the pots for the Monstera. Monsteras in general like to be a bit snug in their pots. If the pots are too big, they will put a lot of energy into filling up that pot with roots instead of into upsizing their leaves. One of the, I guess, tricks I could say to tell you is if you can, try to get a transparent pot. This is a great way to keep track of the roots and what's going on with the plant. Usually if there's something going on with the plant, leaves are turning yellow or whatever, one of the first things that you're supposed to look for, and I found this in online forums and videos as well, you'll hear the experts say, what do the roots look like? So short of, if you have it in a solid pot, of digging it up, there's no way of really telling. With the transparent pots, at least you can take a quick look and see if there's any root rot or anything like that going on. I know these aren't the prettiest things, but they're very useful. The smaller ones are nice because you can get a lot of ceramic pot covers that make this look like this. Very chic and nice. It is tempting to pot right into a ceramic pot. This is a good example of one that you probably shouldn't. Because the roots like to be snug and almost root bound in there, when it's time to repot, you notice how the lip of this one is narrower than the base? You're not going to be able to get the plant out of here without smashing this pot, which is a shame. It's a nice pot. And, of course, you can't see through it. And, thirdly, there's no hole in the bottom, so there's no drainage in these things. You can get ceramic pots with drainage, but once again, you cannot see what's going on with the roots. This one has a little drainage thing and a little saucer that comes with it. It's built right in. It's very nice, it's very cute, but you're much better off just planting it in a see-through nursery container and putting it like that. So you still get the prettiness, but you have the practicality and the functionality of seeing the roots. When it's time to repot, you're looking for about 80% root coverage. And that seems like a lot. It'll seem like you're looking at more roots than soil. By that, the plant will last a long time like that. They're very happy to be like that because, like I said, they like to be snug in their pots. When it's around 80% roots compared to the rest of the soil, that's the time to up-pot. For reference, the tall Monstera that you saw there that I was showing you the internode spaces, it's planted in a pot this size. This, I believe, is just a 10-inch pot. I want to say it's a 10-inch pot. This is just a 10-inch pot, and yet that Monstera was like 3 feet tall. So it gives you an idea of the size pot. So when you look at the Monstera and think, oh, I need something this size, then you probably are going to need something a little bit smaller. It will do fine in something smaller. My Tycon is in a pot this size because I have a massive moss pole in there. So that takes up some of the real estate. So I needed something with, with a little bit heavier base to kind of balance the soil, the plant, and the moss pole. That's the other thing about using the plastic pots. They're going to be light in general. Even if you have a 3-foot plant in there, it'll be a bit tipsy. It's times like that where having like a ceramic insert kind of helps because it adds lower weight to the bottom of the plant. And that kind of balances out everything. So keep that in mind. They like to be a little bit root bound. When you're looking to repot, you're looking for about 80% roots compared to the potting soil mix. And don't put a plant in a pot that's too big. Now, there's one caveat to that. It's not going to kill the plant if you put it in a pot that's too big for it. But what you are going to notice is the plant is going to slow down leaf production and upsizing the leaves. You might get more leaves, but they're not going to be bigger, and that's what you want. The bigger leaves, the fenestrations that everybody loves to show off on TikTok and stuff like that, because all of its energy is going into filling up the pot. And it could be years before, it could be 2 years before the pot is filled with enough roots that it feels like, okay, it's going to start making bigger leaves. So keep that in mind when you're looking for pots for the Monstera. Get transparent if you can. Think a smaller size than probably should be for the plant, and use the ceramic pots as inserts instead of potting directly into the pots. Okay, when it comes to soil, most of the times every time I've seen, when you buy a Monstera from either it be a nursery or a big box store, it comes with a general potting mix in there. Nowhere near as chunky as it needs to be. Repotting the Monstera into a chunky soil mix will be beneficial for your plant. It will allow water to drain quickly so that oxygen can get to the roots in between your watering cycles. This is the mix that I use instead of buying a store-bought brand, and it's a combination of Coco Coir, chunky perlite. If you notice, these chunks are really big compared to regular perlite. So chunky perlite, orchid bark, clay balls or leca, some worm castings, charcoal, which is kind of optional, and a couple handfuls of sphagnum moss. You can also use peat moss instead of Coco Coir. It's up to you. I like the Coco Coir. It can be a bit more pricey because for the size bag of peat moss I can get, the Coco Coir is a lot more expensive, but I think it's worth it for environmental reasons, obviously, and I notice it doesn't bog down the mix too much. So all this mixed together ends up looking like this. It's a very light, chunky mix. If you squeeze it, it just crumbles. It will not cake up and get muddy. Most of the times, the mixes that you see in the pots, the Monsteras, when you get them, it's like just typical like potting mix. There's nothing fancy about it. I've gone with mixing my own compared to just buying a store-bought brand bag that you can get like wherever, Home Depot or wherever, mainly because this works out to be cheaper for me. And number two, I haven't really been impressed with what I've seen in the store-bought brands. And when you look at the ingredients and stuff like that, most of it is this. And anyways, my mix, I guess some people say is kind of fancy with the clay balls. But remember, the chunky bits is what's going to add the air pockets to the mix. What's going to add moisture retention is going to be the peat moss or Coco Coir, and peat moss or Coco Coir, the worm castings, and the sphagnum moss. I've seen and I've had comments online on Reddit. Someone commented that it's kind of questionable that you're telling someone to put peat moss in their potting mix when the people when they tend to overwater their plants. And to that I say, well, maybe they shouldn't overwater their plants. It's not the plants that's the problem, it's the people that are taking care of the plants. A batch that I usually do, like we're using my proportions, I actually have weights and everything. One batch of this chunky mix usually is around 800 grams. The the sphagnum moss in here only works out to maybe 20 grams. So it's not pure sphagnum moss. It's just part of the moisture retention. When you are using this mix and almost any chunky soil mix, compared to any other potting mix that you used before, this will drain scarily fast to you. It doesn't seem right because you pour the water and almost instantly it's coming through the bottom and you're like, well, that can't be good. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to drain fast. The sphagnum moss will do its part in sucking up whatever water it can catch coming through. Same thing with the Coco Coir and the worm castings. Whatever it has soaked up, that's what the plant is going to use to drink from. And keep in mind, everything else is just leaving big air pockets to allow oxygen into the roots. I'm going to mix this up and I'm going to give you a demonstration with how fast this thing actually drains. Okay, this is our little test bed here. In one pot, we have the chunky soil mix. And in the other pot, this is just my general indoor planting mix. This is just Coco Coir, regular perlite, and worm castings. So I'm going to show you what happens when you pour water through. This is very similar to what you would get in a $2 bag I think mine is a better blend, but basically in a $2 bag of soil you get from the dollar store or something like that, you'll get peat moss, and that's pretty well it. Maybe some perlite, but not a lot. So even though mine is similar to the store-bought stuff, this will still drain faster than the store-bought stuff. So I'm going to pour some water in here. And actually mine is very light, so the water comes out pretty fast. But the difference is this is going to hold on to the water much longer because everything in here is designed to hold on to the water. I'm going to pour water now in the chunky soil mix. And there you go. It's like through. That's it. There's no more water coming out. But the sphagnum moss, the Coco Coir, and the worm castings are going to grab whatever water that it can, and that little bit amount is enough for the Monstera. This will probably stay wet for days and days and days. And as it dries, it'll dry from the top down. So even if you do that, finger test and poke your finger in the soil, the top part might be dry, but the bottom part is going to be saturated, and you're going to want to put more water on top of that. Whereas with this one, you don't have to worry about that at all. It's very consistent, it's going to run through, and keep in mind, you're going to have a drip tray under these. So this is what the Monsteras are looking for. They're not looking to sit in soggy, boggy soil mix. Something else to keep in mind, you might have or use water meters for your plants. The ones that you put in there and it has a little dial that tells you if it needs water or not, those probes work great in regular soil mix because there's enough surface contact with the probe itself when you put it in there so that the dial can activate properly. In a chunky mix like this, there's not going to be enough surface contact with the probe when you put it in. So chunky mixes pretty well eliminate the use of moisture probes. So just keep that in mind. They either won't work or they'll just give false readings all the time. You could just have watered the plant in the chunky soil mix. You'll put a meter in there and it'll say you didn't water. So keep that in mind. It's for that exact reason that I do a very unpopular thing of I water on a schedule. You'll hear everybody out there tell you not to do that. Water when the plant needs it and whatever else. Well, I water on a weekly schedule, and that's what I've been doing with the Monsteras, and you can see their size and volume. So the weekly schedule thing is not an issue with me. Water when you need it also can, especially if your plant is still in a mix like this, that's an easy way to get root rot. Because like I said, you're sticking your finger in there, you're feeling it dry, not realizing that the bottom is still wet, and you're watering again. And the roots sitting in that water will start to rot. You can use the chopstick method where you use a bamboo skewer or a bamboo chopstick. You stick it in and see if it comes out clean. For some people that works. Once again, you're not going to get the same kind of results with a chunky mix. Also, considering that the Monstera likes to be a bit root bound and it will have a ton of roots in there, it's going to be very hard to either get your finger or a bamboo skewer inside. Okay, we're back in the house, and the final thing that we're going to talk about is moss poles or support for your plant. Originally, when my Delicioso was in a big pot with all of this much smaller, but together in a big pot before I separated it, there was no support for it. And most of the times, that's how you're going to find it in the store. When I finally separated it, I waited too long before I decided to try to put it on some support. And my first attempt was just a regular piece of wood, and then I modified this 2x4. I actually cut grooves in it, and so that the aerial roots will have some place to attach to. And the problem with waiting too long is the plant kind of twists and turns as it grows. You want to put the support on the back of the plant. The back of the plant is the side that all these aerial roots will come out of. They will come out on the left and on the right, alternating on the back of the plant. That's what all these new points are. That is what has to be on your pole or plank. I tried to do that, but then as the plant grew more, it kind of twisted away from it, and I had a heck of a time of trying to get it to attach to the pole. But honestly, like I said, I waited too long. It wasn't until the plant was up here that it kind of attached, and then as you notice, it turned away, and now it's all on the backside. With the Thai con, I decided I was going to use one of these plastic moss poles with sphagnum moss inside, and I've had a much better result with getting it to attach. I put it on there when I first got the plant, so the plant was young, and I fed a couple of the roots into the moss pole. I did it a couple times, but I didn't have to do it again. It just kept on putting its own roots in there. If I can get this turned around without spilling, now you can see all the roots that are going in there. And I didn't put all these in there. It went in there on its own. But it's doing a much better job of keeping it upright, keeping it spread out, and keeping it growing. The Monstera is basically a vine. In the wild, you'll see these growing on massive trees, and the leaves just get bigger and bigger as it goes up. And as it gets bigger, you'll notice that this is when you'll get the fenestrations. A juvenile plant will have solid leaves. At some point, it starts to get its first fenestration, something like this, the side fenestrations. But as it gets more comfortable and more mature, you'll start to get secondary fenestrations. That's what these holes are here. The first fenestrations are the big slits. The secondary fenestrations are the holes. And then as it gets even more mature, you'll get third stage holes. Like, see, there's 2 holes in this one area. So as the plant matures, it'll keep on getting more of these holes, and the leaves will get bigger. This is the newest leaf that came out. I haven't measured it yet, and I don't think it's fully pumped out to its full size. But I've had a much better result using these D-shaped moss poles instead of the wooden plank. You'll also see the round, dry moss poles that I think are wrapped with Coco Coir. I don't like those. Number one, it's hard to keep those moist, because keeping it moist is good for the roots, and it will cause the plant to root into the pole better. Those round ones I find are difficult to use. I think it's a solid wood inside, and they're just wrapped with the Coco Coir, but it's dry. And getting the plant to attach to that it becomes a challenge. Like I said, these plastic ones are much better. So support is the last thing, and placing the pole, whether it be a wooden stake, if you use a wooden stake, or the moss pole at the back of the plant, that's very important. A lot of people don't realize that Monsteras have a front and a back. The front, just to give you reference, is the side that the leaves come out of. So you'll notice that it's alternating left, right, left, right, left, right. So the next leaf that's going to come out will probably come out from this leaf, and it'll go to the left on that side. And the aerial roots on the back will do the same thing, shooting out left or right, left or right. Anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. That is all that I have on Monsteras. When I learn more, I will let you guys know. I'm also on Reddit. So I cruise around there, and I ask questions, and I give simple advice showing what I've learned on there as well. So you can also find me on there. Hope you guys have a great week.